Welcome back to CBS This Morning. We have an exclusive interview with Breonna Taylor's boyfriend. His name is Kenneth Walker. Now, he was with Taylor when she was killed by Louisville police officers on March 13th. He told us that they were in bed watching a movie when police raided the apartment as part of a narcotics investigation that was targeting her ex-boyfriend. We should point out that Kenneth Walker and Breonna Taylor do not have a criminal history, and no illegal drugs were found in that home. We went to Louisville over the weekend to talk with Kenneth Walker about that night.
To the world, she's just a hashtag, a picture, and all of that. But to me, it was much more. More than a girlfriend, too. I think that's what I want the world to know the most. That was my best friend. The most important person, pretty much, to me on the earth, and they took her.
Let's go back to that day. What kind of day was it for you two?
It was a normal day. It was a relaxed day. Really just chilling and just being us. You know, we went on a date, went out to eat, went back in the house, playing, watching a movie.
Take us to that moment when your life really changed forever.
It was a loud bang at the door. Nobody was responding when we were saying, "Who is it?"
You all did ask, "Who is it?"
Several times, both of us. There was no response.
You know, the police say that they said several times, "It's the police."
If they knock on the door and say who it was, we can hear them. It's dead silent. I know 1,000,000% sure that nobody identified themselves.
So the next thing you hear, the door flies off the hinges. Are you feeling afraid?
Definitely afraid. But I don't have much room to be afraid because I got somebody here that I got to take care of.
So you hear the heavy knocking, and what do you do?
So now at that point, we're getting up to put on clothes, make ourselves decent to answer the door. Then I grab my gun.
We should also say you were licensed to carry the gun.
For sure. That was the one time I had to use it. I mean, if it was the police at the door and they just said we're the police, me or Breonna didn't have a reason at all not to open the door and see what they wanted.
So the doors fly off the hinges.
I let off one shot, and I'm figuring if somebody's trying to break in or something, they're not going to want to do anything after that.
And after that, what happens?
I don't think I ever heard so many gunshots like all at the same time. I've never been to war, but I assume that's what war probably sounds like.
One officer fired 6 shots. Officer Mattingly. Officer Cosgrove fired 16 shots. Officer Hankinson fired 10 shots. That is a lot of firepower.
I still try to make sense of it to this day. There was definitely nowhere to hide. There's bullets coming in every direction.
When did you realize that Breonna had been shot?
I guess in the middle of all the gunfire, like she screamed. But like I was holding her hand.
You were holding her hand?
Yeah, like while this was happening. I pulled her down to the ground. But she was just scared, so she just didn't get down. So
in the middle of all of this, you realize that she's been hit. Was she alive at the time? She was still, and when all the gunfire stopped, she was like bleeding and stuff, and I was holding her. Then that's when I called my mom. You called your mom first?
Yeah, I told her that somebody just kicked in the door and shot Breonna, and she's freaking out at this point, but she told me to call 911, so I did.
911, Operator Harris, where's your emergency?
I don't know what's happening. Somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend.
While you're on the phone, you don't know it's the police.
I didn't know it was the police, not at all. And I even proceeded to tell 911 that, somebody just kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. If I knew who it was, I would have said the police. Or I wouldn't have been calling the police on the police. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Where was she shot at?
I don't know. She's on the grill right now. I don't know.
Is she alert and able to talk to you?
No, she's not. Breathe. God.
In the midst of me talking to 911, I'm like, well, Breonna's mama should know about this too. I hung up on them and I called her mama.
The police didn't come rushing in?
Not at all. I don't think I realized that it was the police until I was on the phone with Breonna's mom. I hear like people outside talking. I thought they was, coming for help because I called 911.
So you think they're coming to help you?
Yes. So when I come outside, there's guns pointed at me. I'm being threatened with dogs and whatever else.
Don't look back. Put your hands on your head.
That's what's going on.
The officer asked me, was I hit by any bullets? I said no. He said, that's unfortunate. So that threw me off too. So I'm like, what's he mean by that?
That's unfortunate, he said to you after you've just lost your girlfriend and you don't know what is happening. What did you think when he said that?
I didn't know what to think, and I really wasn't worried about me. The only reason I'm even out here is because the only way for her to get help in there is for me to be out here.
We were scared. No, we didn't know who it was. We didn't even know who it was.
And I was in the back of the car. I don't know. I got drugged all the way down the street. It was cold. It was wet. I didn't want any socks and shoes on gravel, rocks, and everything. And they was just dragging me like I had scabs and stuff on my feet from that.
When they take you to the police station, still no socks and shoes?
Still no socks and shoes. When we finally left the scene, we pulled over in like a random parking lot on Manslick, which is the street like at the bottom of the hill down the street from Breonna's apartment. And another officer in an unmarked car, and he wasn't in uniform and stuff, and he came to my window. But his tone was way different than everybody else's who was just on the scene.
How so? Different how?
He told me that this was a misunderstanding, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it, and asking me did I need anything, did I need water, and this and that.
Hey, partner, can I get your name? Kenneth Walker. Matt, there was a little bit of miscommunication. I wanted to talk to you before they left.
And then when I got to the police headquarters or whatever it was, they took the handcuffs off me and everything. I was walking around, I went to the bathroom.
Go ahead. When you get there, you can take the handcuffs off.
So clearly y'all know something's wrong, because you don't...
You're allowed to move freely.
Yeah,
once
you don't allegedly shoot a police officer and they take the handcuffs off you.
Were you surprised to hear that you were accused of shooting a police officer?
I definitely was surprised, but I was more concerned about, is he okay and is Breonna okay? At this point, I still didn't even know if she was alive or not.
So when did officers tell you you were going to be charged with attempted murder? When did you hear that?
Maybe like 5 or 6 in the morning that same night.
What did you think?
I was worried about if Breonna was okay or not.
When were you finally told that Breonna didn't make it?
I never really got told, like, directly. I saw it on the news.
That's how you heard Breonna Taylor died, on the news?
Pretty much. And I was in the cell, and it was, like, on the news, and it said one, female dead. It confirmed it. I didn't know for sure what condition, she was in when I left. So I didn't know what they did, but as these body cam videos and stuff come out, I see they did nothing. Clearly, we see the SWAT team in there, and she was still in there. They're still, like, casing the apartment with her laying right there on the ground.
Apartment 4 is now a crime scene. Let's go ahead and move out, all right? She's done.
Disrespectful.
Do you think if you had not survived this incident, that we would be hearing the story that we're hearing today? If you had not survived it?
Definitely not. There wouldn't be a story. You probably wouldn't even know about it. If I didn't live, you probably wouldn't even know about Breonna Taylor.
Breonna Taylor or Kenny Walker?
Or Kenny Walker. I don't want everybody to know about Kenny Walker now. As long as everybody knows Breonna Taylor.
And what do you want us to know about Breonna Taylor?
Just, she would have did anything for anybody. She took care of a lot of people. There's a lot of people that need her bad right now, including me.
Boy. Wow.
A grand jury accepted the Kentucky Attorney General's recommendation not to charge any officers for Breonna Taylor's death. Both the Louisville Metro Police Department and attorneys for 3 individual officers involved declined our request for interviews or for comment. I mean, I'm very struck. Kenny Walker, you can still see, is shattered. He's still in a lot of pain. I think this interview was very difficult for him. That night they were watching a movie called Freedom Riders, and he went to watch it again. And he said he still gets triggered by songs, movies, certain types of food. Yeah. And I think it's so important to discuss, to stress, no criminal record.
Yep.
It was the first time that he's ever fired his gun when he wasn't on the shooting range. And to this day, he goes, I'm not really even sure I hit the police officer. They told me I did, but I'm not really even sure about that.
I think everybody in America should watch that piece because they think they may have an idea of what happened. This will change your perspective. And I think it comes down to accountability and proportional use of force.
Yes.
This is a legal Kentucky gun owner who fired one shot into what he thought was an intruder. He got 20+ bullets from multiple people on the outside who couldn't see what was happening.
Yeah.
That's not proportionate.
And it's totally dark in the apartment. That was interesting, too, about calling 911. He said, why would I call 911 if I thought it was the police?
Well, and clearly by what he says to 911, he doesn't understand what's happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the really compelling part too, is the way he was treated there, and the way the different way he was treated at the police station.
Exactly right.
Suggests.
Exactly right.
Do other police officers think that was a disciplined response to Kenneth Walker's single shot? I think that's a question I'd like to have
It's a lot of questions, and we've got more of their interview with Kenneth Walker. In our next hour, we'll have more of what he says, including his reaction to the nationwide protest over Breonna Taylor's death. As he said, you know, to a lot of people, she's a hashtag, not to him, and how he is handling his grief.